There is a moment, and most people can recall it, if they are honest enough, when you looked at someone you called a friend, and something underneath the surface shifted. Not dramatically, not with conflict or confrontation, just a quiet, almost invisible recognition that the relationship you thought existed was never quite what you believed it to be. You dismissed it. You buried it. Because the alternative, that you had been operating under a false map of reality, was too uncomfortable to hold. This video is not about betrayal. It is not about toxic people or how to cut them off. Those conversations exist to comfort you. This one exists to wake you up. What we are going to examine today is the architecture of friendship itself, what it actually is, how it actually functions, and why most people spend their entire lives never understanding the difference between genuine human connection and the sophisticated social contracts they have confused for it. The truth is not painful because people are cruel. The truth is painful because you were never taught to see clearly. And clarity, when it finally arrives, feels less like relief and more like standing in a room with all the lights suddenly turned on. What you are about to hear will make some people uncomfortable. Good. Discomfort is the first signal that something real is happening. Stay with it. Truth 1. Most friendships are not chosen. They are assembled by circumstance and then defended by ego. Think about the people you call your closest friends. Where did they come from? In most cases, they appeared because of proximity. The same school, the same workplace, the same neighborhood, the same repeated exposure until familiarity was mistaken for depth. Aristotle distinguished between 3 kinds of friendship: friendships of utility, friendships of pleasure, and friendships of virtue. He considered the third category rare, not uncommon, rare. What he understood, and what most people spend decades refusing to accept, is that the majority of human relationships exist in the first 2 categories and never move beyond them. A friendship of utility exists because each person receives something functional from the other. Social validation, access, convenience, a witness to their own life. A friendship of pleasure exists because the time spent together is enjoyable, stimulating, entertaining. Neither of these is fraudulent. Neither of these is a betrayal. But neither of these is what you think it is when you use the word friend with the full emotional weight you have attached to it. And here is the dangerous part. You have been encouraged your entire life to treat Category 1 and Category 2 relationships as though they were Category 3. You have been encouraged to feel that depth exists where depth has never been tested. The moment you understand this, everything changes. Not because you become cynical, but because you stop investing from a position of illusion and begin investing from a position of clarity. There is a profound difference between the two, and that difference will determine the quality of every relationship you ever have from this point forward. Truth 2. People do not love you. They love the version of you that is useful to their internal world. This is not an accusation. It is the mechanism by which human psychology operates, and Carl Jung understood it with a precision that most people find deeply unsettling when they finally encounter it. Every person you know does not experience you directly. They experience their projection of you, the image they have constructed based on what you represent to them, what needs of theirs you fulfill, what emotional role you occupy in the story they are telling about their own life. When you change, when you grow, when you shift your values, when you stop performing the function they unconsciously assigned to you, The relationship does not simply evolve. In most cases, it fractures, not because they dislike who you are becoming, but because who you are becoming no longer matches the projection they had built. And people, when their projections are disturbed, do not examine the projection. They experience the disturbance as a problem with you. This is not malice. This is the unconscious operating exactly as it was designed to operate. The shadow, as Jung described it, is not only the darkness within yourself, it is the darkness within every person you interact with. The parts of themselves they have never examined, the motives they have never acknowledged, the needs they have never named. And those unexamined parts are constantly shaping how they relate to you, constantly filtering their perception, constantly editing the reality of who you actually are. Most people never realize this. They experience the pain of being misunderstood and conclude that they need to explain themselves better. What they actually need to do is understand that the misunderstanding is structural, not accidental. Truth 3. Loyalty is not what you feel. Loyalty is what people do when it costs them something. This is where people lose power, in the gap between what someone expresses and what someone demonstrates. You have almost certainly been in a relationship, romantic, platonic, professional, where the declarations of loyalty were eloquent, sincere, emotionally convincing, and ultimately hollow. Not because the person was lying in the moment they spoke. People rarely lie with conscious calculation. They lie with comfort. They say what maintains the warmth of the present moment, what avoids the friction of honesty, what preserves the image of themselves as a loyal, devoted, reliable person. Sun Tzu wrote that all warfare is based on deception, not because soldiers are dishonest, but because the conditions of survival produce concealment as a natural strategy. The same is true of social life. Most people are not strategically deceiving you. They are unconsciously managing impression, unconsciously preserving connection at the expense of truth, unconsciously choosing the story that makes them feel good about themselves in relation to you. The result is identical to conscious deception. The damage is the same. The confusion is the same. The misplaced trust is the same. Real loyalty reveals itself in one specific condition. When honoring, it requires sacrifice. When staying costs something. When speaking the truth creates friction. When defending you is professionally, socially, or emotionally inconvenient. Strip away every context where loyalty is free, and you will see with absolute clarity who actually chooses you when choosing you is difficult. Most people will never put their relationships through that test because they are afraid of what the results will show. The strategically aware person runs that test quietly, without announcement, and simply observes. Truth 4. The people around you are not neutral observers of your life. They have a stake in your remaining exactly as you are. Schopenhauer understood that human desire is not oriented toward the flourishing of others. It is oriented toward the reduction of one's own suffering, and that reduction frequently depends on the stability of one's environment. When you change, when you begin to earn more, achieve more, think more clearly, carry yourself differently, you introduce an instability into the environment of everyone who knows you. And instability, even when it is produced by your growth, is experienced as a threat. This is why the people closest to you are often the loudest voices of discouragement. Not always through open opposition, rarely through open opposition. The mechanism is subtler and therefore more dangerous. It operates through gentle skepticism, through the well-placed doubt disguised as concern, through the habit of reminding you of your failures at the precise moment you are building momentum. None of this is orchestrated. It is reflexive. But the effect on you, if you are not aware of it, is identical to sabotage. And the tragedy is that you are most likely to be vulnerable to this particular force from the people you trust most deeply, because trust lowers the psychological defenses that would otherwise filter the signal. Once you see this mechanism operating, you cannot unsee it. And what changes is not that you become isolated or suspicious. What changes is that you stop requiring the people in your life to endorse your direction in order for you to move in it. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire, the capacity to want what is genuinely good for you, independent of whether the crowd around you can perceive or validate its value. Truth 5. Vulnerability in the wrong environment is not connection. It is intelligence transferred to people who do not know what to do with it. There is a version of emotional openness that has been marketed to you as the path to deep human connection, and in a mature, psychologically developed relationship, this is partially true. But the culture that promotes radical vulnerability does not tell you what happens when that vulnerability meets an undeveloped receiver. When it meets someone who lacks the interior capacity to hold what you have given them with the care and understanding it requires. What happens is not dramatic. It is quiet. The information you disclosed, the fear you named, the wound you revealed, it does not disappear. It enters the relational architecture, and it sits there, resting in the perception of someone who may not have the sophistication to contextualize it correctly, and it will return. Not necessarily as weaponized attack, more often as a shifted perception, a subtle reframing, a new lens through which they see you that did not exist before the disclosure. You have added a variable to their model of you, and you had no control over how that variable was integrated. Machiavelli was not wrong when he observed that power depends on controlling information. Not because secrecy is inherently superior to openness, but because information, once released, belongs to whoever receives it. The strategically intelligent person does not withhold themselves out of fear. They disclose with precision. They understand that real intimacy is not the rapid transfer of everything. It is the slow, reciprocal, earned accumulation of trust, confirmed by action. And they do not perform vulnerability as a social bonding ritual. They reserve it for the rare environments where the architecture of the relationship has demonstrated, through repeated evidence, that it is actually capable of holding weight. Truth 6. The loneliness you fear is not the absence of people. It is the absence of being genuinely understood. And most people will spend their entire lives filling the space where understanding should exist with the noise of company. They will maintain crowded social lives, active group chats, frequent social engagements, a reliable cast of people available on short notice. And they will feel, underneath all of it, a specific and inexplicable form of isolation. Because the loneliness that actually damages a human being is not produced by solitude. It is produced by invisibility, by being surrounded by people who are responding to a surface version of you that you yourself are no longer fully living in. Nietzsche wrote that the higher man is fundamentally alone, not as a romantic tragedy, but as an inevitable consequence of developing an interior life that most people never develop. This is not elitism. It is an observation about what happens when a person genuinely begins to think, genuinely begins to examine, genuinely begins to operate from values and perceptions that diverge from the comfortable average. The distance that opens is not between you and other people. It is between you and the shared illusions that social belonging usually requires. This does not mean that real connection is impossible. It means it is rarer than the culture of friendship sentiment has led you to believe. It means that one relationship built on genuine recognition is worth more than 20 built on mutual entertainment. It means that your capacity to tolerate solitude with integrity, to be alone without it becoming desperation, without it collapsing into the need to fill silence with people who cannot actually reach you, is not a social failure. It is the foundational condition for eventually attracting and sustaining the kind of connection that actually means something. What you have just heard is not a reason to distrust people. It is a reason to see people clearly. There is a profound difference between those two things, and the inability to hold that difference is what produces either naive openness or corrosive cynicism. Neither of those positions is powerful. Neither of them is accurate. What is powerful is the capacity to engage with the world as it actually is, to offer genuine connection without requiring illusion, to sustain it, to invest in relationships with clear eyes, and to know, without bitterness, the difference between what is real and what is performance. The most dangerous thing you can do is continue operating from a map of human relationships that was handed to you by a culture that benefits from your emotional compliance. The friendships that will actually matter in your life will not be the ones that were easy or convenient or built on shared history. They will be the ones that survived honesty. The ones where both people saw something real in the other and chose it anyway, not out of habit or utility or the fear of being alone, but out of genuine recognition. That is rare, but it exists, and you will only find it when you stop settling for the imitation